webinar and we will upload on the website
Of RIPA.
or of RIPA, which is activated now. So, good evening, friends. This is under my presidency first webinar. So, I welcome you all and I thanks Mr. Manish Gadia for his time. And I have heard a lot that you are very expert on the subject and you are master blaster. So many time I am not expert in taxation. So my office always say whether to do GST this. So I have told my people now on our behalf, Mr. Paliwal will ask the questions and he will ask the query. I told Mr. Paliwal we don't want any query now hereafter in our firm. So welcome, Mr. Manish. And to formally introduce, Mr. Manish is a visionary leader and senior professional with practical experience in the field of GST and adapt and academic development. He is a exemplary writer of journals and co-author of various books with passion of inspiring professional and student through imparting high education. His professional experience, he is a CA in practice since 1997 and partner in Messrs. GMJ and Company Chartered Accountants in the which is in practicing in the field of GST. Books and research paper publication, co-authored the book Statutory Obligation of Cooperative Housing Society, published by WRC of ICAI, co-author of Handbook on Valuation and Handbook on EPC Contracts, both published by Chamber of Tax Consultant. He is a regular contributor to WRC Referencer, regular contributor to GST Reference published by GSTPAM, contributed articles on service tax in Income Tax Review Monthly Journal published by CTC, compiled the budget booklet published by JB Nagar CPA Study Circle of WRC for the year 2005 to 2021. He is a renowned academician and eminent personality with proficiency in delivering more than 550 lectures, my goodness, on service tax and GST at ICAI, regional councils of ICAI, branches of ICAI, study circles, the Chamber of Tax Consultant, AIFTP, BCAs, GSTPAM, CGPI, Management Institute, oh my God, ICSI, Indian Navy Trade Associations and Corporates. His major achievements is a chairman of WRC of ICAI for the year 21-22 and also as a past chairman of Professional Development Committee and Study Circle Coordination Committee for year 21-22, Career Counseling Committee and Indirect Tax Committee. Invited to express views on GST, which is regularly telecasted on national TV as well as print media. Contributed for a special column in Now Bharat Times newspaper, which focused on addressing queries of readers on GST from May 17 till May 19. Represented before Commissioner of Sales Tax of Maharashtra, Finance Minister Maharashtra, and Union Finance Minister for State in respect of GST. Co-opted member of Infrastructure Committee for Capacity Building of CA Firms and Small Medium Practitioner of ICAI for year 10-11. Banking, Insurance and Pension Committee of ICAI 15-16. Member of Study Group of GST formed by ICAI 2009-10. Co-opted member of Indirect Tax Committee, my goodness, 14-15 of WRC of ICAI. Group leader of Indirect Tax Studies Group of WRC of ICAI for the year 15-16, Chairman of Student Committee 14-15, Indirect Chairman Committee 10-11-11-2, and the Chamber of Tax Consultant, Founder, Convener, and Core Group Member of JP Nagar CP Study Circle of WRC. Welcome, Mr. Manish. It's a long your profile, and it shows you are just like eating and drinking GST taxation and all that, and you have digested all since years. So thanks a lot for giving time for RIPA. This association is for insolvency professional, and it is basically knowledge sharing association. And thanks a lot for coming here and sharing your knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dipti Madam, for your kind words.
And first of all, congratulations to you for taking over as president of RIPA. And Devang Bhai has really done a fantastic work, regularly follow up, etc. So it's a great thing. And I thank RIPA for giving me this opportunity to interact with the members. And definitely this, just a minute. So this is actually a new topic. I can say that GST on CIRP was introduced, special provisions has been introduced in the GST law just before the lockdown, you can say that is in March 2020. And since then, you are required to follow the same. So what I will do is I will try to cover the entire procedure what government has given as far as the GST is concerned. And then if any question answer is there, definitely we will take it up, because the challenges is there that since RP is there or maybe IRP is there, so it's not a regular thing what they are managing. So it's not a regular GST. There may be a sale, there may not be any supply also during that period. So various challenges are there of related to that. So basically, CIRP stand for, you all know that, Corporate Insolvency Professional Resolution, and its mechanism for recovery from the corporate debtors. So I'm not going into the detail that how CIRP has been, process has been initiated, and how RP and IRP has been appointed, and what is the limit, because all of you are doing and you know that. So I will skip that slide. What is the difference between RP and IRP, that also you know, and how that CRP process is taken up, that also process, the responsibilities, duties also I am not taking up, because there in the presentation and you are doing day in, day out, you know all things. So I skip this. So directly I will come on GST procedure for on CIRP. So it has been introduced by wide notification 11/2020 on 21st March 2020. That is, I said, just before the lockdown, or maybe that lockdown has been already initiated or already imposed. It was imposed on 18th March. After that, it has been introduced. So it says that the problem was with this was that GST law, if somebody has not filed their previous GST return, GSTR1, GSTR3B, then the future period return cannot be able to file unless you file the previous return. And the major problem what RP or IRP was facing, that the company is into insolvency and they may not have filed their return maybe many months. And because of that, in future also they are not able to file that. So they represented to the government that what to do. So they have come out with a special procedure for that. And they said that registered person here is referred to as the erstwhile registered person who are corporate debtors, etc., and who affairs are being undertaken by maybe IRP or maybe the RP, then a special procedure has been introduced for them. And a special procedure has been given in respect of registration, return, and taking of input tax credit. So I will start with the registration. So it said that the said class of person shall with effect from the date of appointment of IRP or RP, within 30 days, they can apply for GST registration, and they will be treated as distinct person of the corporate debtor. So what is distinct person is that as far as GST is concerned, if a person is having a same PAN but having a different GST registration, then it is called a distinct person. So now that RP will be called as distinct person of the company who is gone into the insolvency or going into the CIRP process. And that RP or IRP is liable to take a new registration in each state or union territory where the corporate debtor was registered earlier. So if corporate debtor was registered in 3 states, then IRP also required to register in 3 states within 30 days of appointment of IRP or RP. Or maybe by 30th June 2020, whichever is later, because the period you may be appointed IRP or maybe RP before 31st March 2020, or maybe in the year 2018, 2019. In that case also, you are required to take registration till 30th 2020. That 30 days time limit has been increased, extended. And again, by way of notification 39/2020, they have also amended this registration, and they have said that if the corporate debtors who have not defaulted in furnishing the return under GST would not be required to obtain a separate registration. As I said, the special procedure was given to keep in view that the earlier return has not been filed by corporate debtors, and because of that, the appointed RP or IRP is not in a position to file the return of the current period or return of the period in which he is acting as a RP or IRP. But if regular return has been filed, then there is no requirement for RP to take a separate registration. So that they have clarified by way of notification 39/2022-2020. Now, another question arose that once RP has taken a different registration other than the registration of corporate debtors CD, then whether the corporate debtor registration will be cancelled. So it has been clarified that GST registration of corporate debtor will not be cancelled under the provision of section 29. But if proper officer, if deemed fit, he may suspend the registration but will not cancel the registration. And in case the registration of an entity undergoing CIRP has already been cancelled, because there is a provision under the GST law which says that if you are not filing your return for a period of 3 months, then your registration need to be cancelled. So it may be possible that the corporate debtor must have not filed the return continuously for 3 months. Then in that scenario, his registration may have been cancelled. So it says that it is advised that such cancellation may be revoked by taking an appropriate step in this regard, and RP has to do the needful in this respect and approach the respective respective officer. Another question is that there may be a possibility that the IRP will be appointed, and once the COC will be formed and COC may appoint another RP also, there may be possibility that the same IRP will be converted into RP in most of the time, but there may be a possibility that IRP may not be RP. Then what will happen? Because the registration has been taken by the IRP and all the authorized signatory will be of IRP. So they have mentioned, they have clarified that they need to change the amendment in the registration form and changing the authorized signatory, which is a no for amendment and which can be does not require any approval of the officer. So there may be two possibilities that IRP may cooperate for changing the authorized signatory, then there will not be any new RP will do that. There may be possibility that IRP may not be cooperating with the RP to do that. In that case, that newly appointed person, newly appointed RP can get this detail added through the jurisdictional authority. So he has to approach the jurisdictional officer and then he will do the needful for allowing that the new authorized, we will add new authorized signatory to new RP. This new registration shall be required only once, and in case any change in IRP or RP after initial appointment under IBC, it would be deemed to be change of authorized signatory, that nothing new has to be done, but only authorized signatory has to be changed. Now, the question arises how to take the registration. So for taking registration, new registration, every SSC need to file Form GST REG 1 within 30 days in every state or union territory where the corporate data has the registration, and he will get register himself. Once he will apply for registration, then the unique identification number, or you can say a GSTN, will be granted to him after due verification of the document, and certificate of registration shall be issued to that RP or IRP. And this registration has to be issued within 30 days of making an application. If it is not approved, then it is deemed to be approved, provided he has not raised any deficiency memo or any department has not asked for any other document, then it is deemed to be granted within 30 days. These are the list of the documents required to be submitted for GST registration: name, address and PIN code, telephone number, email ID of the company, mobile number and email ID of for correspondence with department. So it is highly recommended that you should give the number details of RP. So all the communication, SMS, email, etc. will come to your email ID. PAN card of the company, firm, LLP, company in this case, certificate of incorporation, address proof of place of business. If it is owned, that electricity bill, legal ownership document, municipal khata, property tax receipt, or any two document required. Electricity bill is mandatory. Electricity bill, what they are doing is, all electricity bill have a consumer account number, and they will put, officer will put that CA number on the electricity distribution company account site, and he will find out that the bill copy what you have submitted is correct or not. So they are doing that verification online. And in case if it is rented premises, then latest electricity bill in the name of the owner, rent agreement, and the consent letter or NOC from the owner is required. Documents to be submitted for GST registration. Further document is Aadhaar card, PAN card, mobile number, email ID of IRP, RP, photograph of IRP or RP, letter of authorization from adjudicating authority who is responsible for the affair of whole insolvency and bankruptcy procedure, cancer tax, nature of business activity, PTRC and PTEC number. Apart from this,
Manish, we have some questions whether we should ask at the end of the session or we can
no,
ask.
You can ask now also, no issue. Paliwalji.
Thanks, sir. Sir, सबसे one of the biggest challenge RP faces, IRP faces. So generally, when these companies comes to the IRP or RP, generally the erstwhile promoter do not support. So we hardly get a proper electricity bill or any document where we can submit to the for a registration. And that become a challenge because those documents are not in the name of company, neither promoter support, because the earlier whichever they were operating, they had namesake, or we actually don't get any document. So what we should do for registration?
See, at least you may have an electricity bill.
सर ये सब सर एसपीवीज होती है काफी, तो जहाँ पे
नहीं समझ गया सर। तो इसमें दो पॉसिबिलिटी है कि भाई एक तो या तो आपके नाम पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल होगा जिस कंपनी को इंसॉल्वेंसी में गई है, या और किसी कंपनी के नाम पे भी हो सकता है। बराबर है, खुद के नाम पे तो आपका इशू खत्म हो गया, किसी दूसरे के नाम पे है तो आपको ये सर एनओसी और ये सब आपको जो मैंने लिस्ट दी है दैट इज मैंडेट, उसके बिना वो करते नहीं है, ये प्रॉब्लम है। तो वी कैन रिप्रेजेंट थ्रू रीपा कि this in case of RP registration you should give away this requirement because it is not possible practically.
Because what I feel, when IRP submit his own credential and the RP comes, if those credentials are not being changed, so always the notices will send to the IRP only because his credentials are being used for registration.
No, so then what you have to do is you have to change the authorized person. So once you will change the authorized person, so his email ID, his phone number also you can able to change that. So that need to be changed. Then all the correspondence come to you. Unless you change that. So what happens? You only change the authorized signatory. You are not changing the email ID and phone number also. So I highly recommend that that need also to be changed, that need to be changed.
सेकंड
और
सर
ये जो
काफी
आपने बताया सर ये एड्रेस वाला चैलेंज है, तो ये तो मैं आपको अभी ये बता रहा हूँ सर। इसके अलावा और भी एडिशनल डॉक्यूमेंट में ये 3 चीजें हैं और वो कवर कर लेते हैं, फिर अपन डिस्कस करते हैं।
ओके सर।
तो ये सब तो मिनिमम डॉक्यूमेंट आपको लगेंगे ही लगेंगे। इसके अलावा भी आपको और एडिशनल डॉक्यूमेंट ऑफिसर में डिमांड, एंड डिपेंडिंग ऑन ऑफिसर टू ऑफिसर हु इज गिविंग द रजिस्ट्रेशन। एंड इन केस ऑफ गुजरात एंड पुडुचेरी, it is mandatory to give a geotagging of the premises, and they also require a biometric detail of the RP.
Okay.
And further, in the case of, case of state of Gujarat, now they are proposing that the police verification of the principal place of business will also be required to be done. So like passport, जैसे पासपोर्ट में आपके यहाँ पे पुलिस ऑफिसर आके सब डॉक्यूमेंट वेरीफाई करता है, चेक करता है, आजू बाजू में पूछता है कि भाई पालीवाल जी यहीं रहते हैं ना, तो वैसे ही वो इस तरीके का कुछ अरेंजमेंट दे आर प्लानिंग टू डू इट. So these are the, and now what happened is that we are reading in a newspaper at least once in a week or maybe 10-15 दिन में कुछ ना कुछ कहीं ना कहीं GST fraud आ ही जाता है. So to curb that, now they are more and more stringent on giving a registration. As I said, कि आपने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल भी दिया है तो वो बिल को मानते नहीं है, बिल को भी वो वेरीफाई करते हैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनी के साथ. बैंक का जो कैंसिल चेक होता है उसको दे वेरीफाई विद द बैंक ऑल्सो. So to that extent they are going. So these are the challenges, but what we can best do is we can do the representation on this, what you said, that as please in case of RP, if you can give away this requirement, because the RP is ultimately working under the instruction of COC and reporting to NCLT. So there is no possibility that he can run away.
Sir, you are
And he
also
can do any
covering
fraud.
liquidation, liquidator. You are covering liquidation also, liquidator situation.
No, I'm not covering that. Actually, I'm covering only CIRP till the resolution plan. Tak.
Okay, because even liquidator has a problem.
Yeah. So basically,
Okay.
what we can do now, madam, we can make some representation through RIPA
Yeah,
for this registration issue.
yeah.
Because ultimately, why they are making this more stringent, I have given the reason. And this is not possible in case of RP.
Insolvency,
Resolution
yeah.
plan में possibility नहीं है उसकी कि वो रन अवे हो जाए या वो कुछ बिल इशू कर दे. Yeah, Abhishek ji, you have raised an hand.
या गुड इवनिंग मनीष जी. मेरा क्वेश्चन रजिस्ट्रेशन से रिलेटेड ऐसा है कि भाई सपोज कंपनी में रजिस्ट्रेशन रिक्वायर्ड है नहीं फॉर द टाइम बी, बट जो एज पर जीएसटी एक्ट यदि कंपल्सरी रिक्वायरमेंट आता है, जस्ट टेक एग्जांपल लॉयर फी और द जीटीए सर्विसेज और XYZ कंपल्सरी रजिस्ट्रेशन, तो इन दैट केस डू वी नीड टू टेक a registration?
See, as far as lawyer payment is concerned, if you are not registered, if your turnover is less than 20 lakh, in that scenario, you are not required to register. And if you are not required to register, then it is not, you are not required to pay under reverse charge. It is exempted supply as far as the lawyer is concerned. And I know that in case of CIRP process, heavy payments are to be made to the lawyers.
Yes.
And many of the companies having a
मनीष जी,
turnover.
मेरा भी यही क्वेश्चन आने वाला था. वो काफी कंपनीज ऐसी होती हैं जिनका मतलब एसपीवी जैसी होती है, जिनमें रियल एस्टेट पड़ी होती है, लोन लेके रखते हैं, बिजनेस कुछ होता नहीं है, तो पहले से जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन होता नहीं है. एंड व्हेन कंपनी कम्स टू अस, वी हैव ए ड्यूल माइंड, बिकॉज एवरीबडी सेज कि रिवर्स चार्जेस पे आपको टैक्सेस देना चाहिए. एंड एवरी टाइम वी मेक सम रिस्पॉन्ड, तो दे सेड नहीं सर, मिनिमम आपको आरसीएम पे बेसिस पे टैक्स तो भरना चाहिए. तो व्हेन आई चेक विद मल्टीपल आरपीस, एवरी आरपी सेज कि सर अगर हम लोग जाएंगे तो हर कंपनी को इवन उसका सेल्स नहीं है तो भी आरसीएम के लिए रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ जाएगा. तो वी हैव टेकन ऑन सर्टेन केसेस नहीं लिया है, बट हाँ वी थॉट
जैसे आरसीएम में मैंने आपको बताया कि सर आपको एक तो आरसीएम में पेमेंट हो सकता है लॉयर का, तो लॉयर के लिए स्पेसिफिक एग्जेम्पशन दिया हुआ है. ओके. तो उसमें आपको रिवर्स चार्ज में पेमेंट करने की या रजिस्ट्रेशन कराने की जरूरत खाली उसके लिए नहीं है. बाकी और कोई आपका पेमेंट है तो दैट वी कैन डिस्कस, बिकॉज आई डोंट थिंक कि मेजर
सिक्योरिटी
पेमेंट इसके अलावा और कोई आता है।
और सिक्योरिटी में सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स
सिक्योरिटी
सिक्योरिटी
गार्ड तो चार्ज कर लेते हैं मैडम।
वो कर लेते हैं।
सिक्योरिटी कर लेते हैं, खाली आपका जो प्रॉब्लम आता है वो रेंट अ कैब और ये सब में आता है, तो रेंट अ कैब में तो उतना आपका इशू नहीं रहता होगा, आई डोंट थिंक सो।
आईपी कॉस्ट में, आईपी फीस में ही आ जाते हैं जीएसटी, तो कंपलसरी लेना पड़ता है सर।
हाँ वो तो सर हम लोग वो तो सर एज आरपी अपन कलेक्ट कर लेते हैं।
वो तो आप
हाँ,
कलेक्ट कर लेते हैं ना सर,
हाँ,
आपको
उसका
कंपनी
issue
के
नहीं
भी
है।
आप पे जो पेमेंट कर रहे हैं उसका हम बात कर रहे हैं।
नहीं, इवन योर फीस पालीवाल जी इज जीएसटी एडेड टू द कंपनी ना।
सर उसमें चैलेंज नहीं आता है, बिकॉज मेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है या मेरी आईपी एंटिटी का रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है।
राइट।
अब चैलेंज कहाँ आता है कि जैसे मेरे पास कोई कंपनी है जिसमें मैंने जीएसटी रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं लिया और मैंने कोई एडवोकेट को अपॉइंट करके एनसीएलटी में या एनकेलेट में खड़ा कर दिया, तो उसको मैं 10,000 भी देता हूँ, और सिंस एडवोकेट चार्ज नहीं करते हैं, नॉर्मल कोर्स में आरसीएम में इस पे पे करना पड़ता है। दैट्स व्हाट मेरा क्वेश्चन यही था कि सर ये आरसीएम में अगर नहीं पे करे तो
तो
वेदर
लॉयर के केस में अगर आप 20 लाख के नीचे हैं पालीवाल जी, तो कहीं पे भी आपको चैलेंज नहीं है, वो डिस्क्रिप्शन में आ जाता है, एग्जाम एंट्री है, तो नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू बी पेड।
नहीं सर उन दैट केस तो हम रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं करें तो भी चले, क्योंकि जब
अगर
अपना
आपका और
20
कोई इसमें इसमें अगर आप समझो कोई एसेट बेच रहे हो, या कई केसेस में क्या होता है कि कंपनी रनिंग भी होती है,
हाँ
so in that case if you are doing some
हाँ,
sales also, then you require to
हाँ।
register ना।
नहीं रनिंग है ही नहीं मेरी कंपनी, तो फिर
हाँ, अगर
रनिंग होने
कंपनी
वाली।
रनिंग नहीं है, लेकिन आप
हाँ
समझो कोई एसेट अगर बेचने जाएंगे
हाँ हाँ हाँ,
और वो 20 लाख के ऊपर है, तो देन यू रिक्वायर टू रजिस्टर ना।
देन विल रिक्वायर, यस।
या सो केस टू केस
हाँ
बेसिस है, मतलब अगर आपका
यस यस।
कंपनी है, समझो कई बार क्या होता है कि 2-3 साल तक कंपनी बंदी पड़ी है, कुछ एक्टिविटी नहीं हो रही है, so then you do
हाँ
not take registration ना। once you will
हाँ,
come at the stage of selling of any asset,
देन यू कैन
liquidating
टेक।
any asset, that time you register yourself। तो अदरवाइज क्या होगा, ये बीच के 2-3 साल में कंपनी का और ये लॉयर का जो भी पेमेंट होगा उस पे आरसीएम में जीएसटी बच जाता है ना।
यानी सीधा
बराबर,
लिक्विडेशन में रजिस्ट्रेशन होगा, क्योंकि तभी हम लोग सेल करेंगे फिर।
करेंगे तभी करेंगे, बिल्कुल।
या
सर आई हैव
और
वन
अगर
क्वेश्चन।
इन केस सर्टेन कंपनीज में रिजोल्यूशन प्लान में मैंने देखा है कि कुछ कंपनियां रनिंग भी होती है, तो इन दैट केस आल्सो यू रिक्वायर्ड रजिस्टर, बिकॉज रेगुलर सेल तो आपको करना ही है ना, परचेज
या रनिंग कंपनी में तो हो जाता है, बंद कंपनी का
रनिंग
ही
वन
थोड़ा
कंपनी में जरूरत नहीं है फिर।
सर आई हैव वन क्वेश्चन।
या कपड़े जी।
So in many of the voluntary liquidation cases where there is a registration, but as such there is nothing in the company except distribution of cash. But we may require to pay some lawyer at some point of time. So what can we just surrender the registration and then we can pay the lawyer, and how we can adjust that payment?
See, previously, if GST law says that if your turnover is less than 20 lakh, you can surrender your registration. Correct. But now new notification what they have issued in this in the year 2020 in respect of resolution professional. There they have clarified that you cannot surrender the registration certificate of the company. At the best, you can suspend the same.
There is no sale as such. Basically we are going for a voluntary liquidation.
So if you are going for the liquidation and okay, you do not have any asset also, so then you should
no
go
asset.
for then you can go for surrendering the registration and
ये
saying that
एसेट है, एसेट्स रहते हैं उसमें। इट इज अ
नहीं, ये
सॉल्वेंट
बोलते हैं इनके
कंपनी।
केस में खाली कैश ही है, कोई एसेट नहीं है, ऐसा कोई
हाँ
होगा
कैश
नहीं।
ही है,
Yes.
कैश रहती, कभी एसेट भी रहता है। यस
अगर एसेट है तो देन आपको कभी भी एसेट आप लिक्विडेट करोगे तो आपको जीएसटी लायबिलिटी आ जाएगी ना सर।
आ जाएगी वो तो, हाँ तो वो तो फिर खर्चे में वो सेल से लेस हो जाएगा अमाउंट से।
हाँ,
आई
सेल
मीन
लेस हो जाएगा, बट रजिस्ट्रेशन आपको रखना पड़ेगा ना।
रखना पड़ेगा।
कि मेरे को अगर खाली कैश ही है कंपनी में और कुछ नहीं है, बैंक
हाँ
बैलेंस ही है, तो देन आई विल सरेंडर द रजिस्ट्रेशन ना। तो लॉयर का भी सब झंझट निकल जाएगा, तो यू कैन डू दैट।
लिक्विडेशन में भी अगर 20 लाख से अगर असेट का वैल्यू कम है जो मैं सेल कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरे को रजिस्ट्रेशन का जरूरत नहीं है ना,
नहीं, जरूरत नहीं है फिर,
बिकॉज खाली कोई प्रिंटर या कंप्यूटर्स कुछ है कंपनी के पास विच वी आर सेलिंग विच है हार्डली 5-10 लाख रुपीज, तो नो नीड टू गेट अ रजिस्ट्रेशन।
या
ओके
So I'll move ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then we'll go to GST return filing. So return, you are also as RP or IRP required to file a registration and comply with all the provision of the GST law. So once you take RP registration or as a IRP registration, so as per section 40, you are required to file your first return also, GST return also, from the period beginning from the date on which you became liable to register till the date which the registration has been granted. So specifically, suppose you are taking registration till 30th June 20 and your RP period may be started in 2018 or maybe 2017. तो उसके जो भी ट्रांजेक्शन हुए रहेंगे वो सारे डिटेल आप इसमें देना था, और अभी रेगुलर में भी अगर ऐसा कुछ है तो देना है. रिटर्न में broadly you are required to file GSTR1 return. The periodicity is monthly and due date is 11th. And in case of you are in QRMP scheme, that is quarterly scheme, then also GSTR1 need to be filed monthly and due date is 13th of the following month. GSTR3B required to file monthly or maybe quarterly. If you are filing monthly, then the due date is 20th of the following month. Then you are required to file GSTR9 if the turnover is more than 2 crore rupees and due date is 31st of the next financial year. And if turnover is more than 5 crore rupees, then GSTR9C also need to be filed. And due date is also 31st of next financial year. These are the due date for filing of return. Another question arises that whether RP or IRP is liable to file return of pre-CIRP period. So हो सकता है कि जो कॉर्पोरेट डेटर्स है उसने 2 महीने 6 महीने साल भर के रिटर्न ही नहीं भरे, तो whether he is liable. So there is a provision under IBC 2016 which act which says that IRP and RP under no obligation for the company all legal requirement period his obligation is after the period of insolvency commencement date, and before that date he is not liable to comply with any of the provision. तो जो पुराने रिटर्न है उसको भरने की कोई भी जिम्मेदारी या पुराना टैक्स जो भी है भरने की कोई भी जिम्मेदारी आरपी या आईआरपी की नहीं बनती है.
सर मनीष जी, यहाँ पे थोड़ा टेक्निकल क्वेश्चन है मेरा.
हाँ,
आपने मतलब व्हाट यू सेड कि एनी लायबिलिटी बिफोर सीआरपी पीरियड, वो तो वी रिक्वेस्ट द डिपार्टमेंट एंड फाइल ए क्लेम विद अस if any outstanding liability.
Yeah, I am coming to that. So they required to file a claim with you and directly with the NCLT also.
Okay.
तो पुराना जो भी उनका क्लेम बनेगा वो उसमें NCLT में जाएंगे और वहीं पे वो फाइल करेंगे because they become ऑपरेशनल डेटर्स.
Okay. सर मेरा रिवर्स क्वेश्चन है, मान लो जैसा आपने बोला ना कि इफ एनी कंपनी विच इज कंप्लाइड कंपनी एंड किसी फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस की वजह से दे आर कम अंडर एनसीएलटी and instead of liability they have a carry forward GST credit, so whether RP can avail that GST credit when he continue the same registration.
मैं वो भी कवर करने वाला हूँ थोड़ी देर.
अच्छा, ठीक है
सर, मैं प्रेजेंटेशन में है.
नो आगे तो फिर हम लोग समझ.
हाँ नहीं, आगे है वो करते हैं अपन उसको भी.
ओके सर.
So now coming to input tax credit. So whatever input tax credit is there, he can claim in the first return. So there may be two possibility that उसका कोई इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट कॉर्पोरेट डेटर्स ने अपने रिटर्न में लिया ही नहीं या वो रिटर्न उसने भरा ही नहीं, दोनों पॉसिबिलिटी है. और वो बिल जो है सप्लायर का वो कॉर्पोरेट डेटर्स के जीएसटीएन पे आया हुआ है. So in that case also provision provide that once RP took the new registration, IRP or RP, I will say RP only, whether it is IRP or RP. So RP will take the new registration. So he can be able to take the registration ITC in respect of whatever bill has been received by corporate debtors under the old GST number for which he has not claimed the GST, not the credit in his return. So वो RP अपने return में भी ले सकता है. And the best part they have given is that you all know that there is a time limit for claiming input tax credit under section 16(4). Section 16(4) of input tax of GST law says that you cannot claim any input tax credit after the end of the 30th November of the next financial year. तो suppose 22-23 का अगर मुझे कोई भी क्रेडिट लिया है तो मैं 30 नवंबर 23 तक ले सकता हूं, उसके बाद नहीं ले सकता. But in case of RP, CIRP registration, whatever you have taken, in that scenario, that section 16(4) will not apply, and you can take the previous period का अगर कोई क्रेडिट छूट गया है तो वो भी आप ले सकते हैं. So that is the best part they have given, and they have said that that you have to file that first return within 30 days. So within 30 days, you have to file that your return, and you have to take all the credit which has been left out. So I know practically it is very difficult that to compile all the data within 30 days, but you do not have any other option that you have to do it within 30 days.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, Sanjeev ji.
We have a peculiar situation where there is a security agency where the RCM has to be paid by the liquidator, and we have a huge amount of input tax credit as far as the CD's GST account is concerned, which of course the liquidator is now the authorized signatory. But we are being told by the GST consultant who we have appointed that we cannot use this huge amount of input tax credit for the RCM for set off of the RCM of the security agency. Now, are we still supposed to actually pay the GST despite the fact that we have huge amount of input tax credit?
Yeah. So when you are liable to pay under reverse charge mechanism, it means that services has been supplied by some other person, and instead of he is making payment of tax, you are required to make the payment as the recipient of service. Correct? So in that scenario, GST law provides that you have to make payment from cash ledger only, and for making whatever your liabilities under reverse charge, you can't use your input tax credit balance. So whatever your GST consultant has told you, Goyal ji, in respect of security services where you are making payment under reverse charge, you cannot use your credit balance and you have to pay from the bank account only. You can use your credit balance only and only in respect of your outward supply. Maybe if some sales you are doing, maybe asset sale, maybe regular sale, something, then only you can use that. Otherwise, you can't use that.
Okay, thank you. It reconfirms what the consultant.
Yeah. So broadly, whenever you are taking credit, so the law says that you should be in possession of the tax invoice, etc., issued by the supplier under GST. That credit should appear in your GSTR 2B. You should receive the goods and services, and the tax charge in respect of the supply has been actually paid to the credit of the appropriate government, and you should furnish the return and you should claim that credit in your return. So these are the conditions given. So whenever you are doing a resolution plan for a company which is a running company, then while taking credit, all these 5 conditions need to be satisfied, and then only you should take the credit. Otherwise, you should not take the credit of any of if any of the condition, these 5 condition, any of the condition is not fulfilled. Another thing is that once you are taking a credit, and if recipient from whom you have taken a bill, if you are not making payment within 180 days, then you are required to reverse the credit along with the interest. So there may be a possibility that you are having a running company, and running company you have taken any credit, but you do not have any fund to make the payment to the supplier, and that you have not made the payment to the supplier within 180 days. So whatever credit you have taken, you have to reverse that credit, and not only reverse, but you have to pay the interest from the date of taking of credit till the 180 days. And once you will make the payment, again you can recredit the same credit afterwards. So that you have to take care. 16.4 I have already explained, but in case of once you are filing first return, so 16.4 will not apply, but in regular case, 16.4 definitely will apply in case of RP registration also. These are the documents required to be maintained for taking GST GST credit, that is the tax invoice issued by the supplier. Tax invoice issued by the, as Goyal ji has asked question, Sanjeev ji, under reverse charge. Correct, Sanjeev ji, are you there?
Yes, sir. Very much. Very much. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So under reverse charge, so two possibility that security company may be registered under GST or may not be registered under GST.
It
If
is
security
registered.
company is registered under GST, so definitely he will issue the tax invoice. So you may be paying under reverse charge, but on that basis of that invoice, you can take the credit. Second possibility is that security company may not be registered under GST, or maybe the lawyer fees you are making payment and you are making under reverse charge, GST liability also under reverse charge. So lawyer may not be registered. So in that case, you are required to issue a tax invoice on the corporate debtors himself, that is the self invoice what we call, and then only you can take the credit. Then you can take the credit on the basis of debit note issued by the supplier, bill of entry in case of import, and invoice or credit note issued by an ISD. These are the only document on which you can take the credit.
Manish ji, in case of CRP, we take lot of services from consultant, and generally what happens ki we pay to this consultant on the basis of scan copy of tax invoice comes to us. Whether the scan copy is sufficient enough, we need to insist the original should be shared with us.
No, original should be with you.
Okay.
So
sometimes
yes. Original has to be with you. Department anytime can ask for that original. So maybe you can make the payment on the basis of scan copy, but it has to be original copy has to be in your record. Maybe after week time or whatever, it has to be in your record whenever department will ask. Okay. Next is block credit. So as I said that there is a condition 16.2 which says that 5 conditions need to be satisfied, then you can take the credit. But there is a block credit, means there are certain services for which credit are not allowed under any circumstances. So broadly, if you are buying any motor vehicle, or if any motor vehicle is there, or any expenses related to insurance of motor vehicle or repair of motor vehicle, that credit will not be allowed. So which is restricted. Then expenses in respect of food and beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, health services. So maybe you are running a company and then workman insurance, etc. you are taking, then that credit is not allowed. But in case workman insurance you are taking, and as per Factory Act, it is mandatorily required to be taken, then you can take the credit. Otherwise, normal circumstances, health insurance are block credit. Then any work contract service or any services or anything, steel, cement, etc. what you are purchasing for construction, credit are not allowed. Any goods or services taken from composition dealer or maybe non-resident taxable person, then credit are not allowed. Anything for the personal consumption, then credit are not allowed. Any goods is lost, because this is very common phenomena that maybe a goods or maybe a capital goods is lost, or maybe stolen, or maybe destroyed, or written off, or disposed of, then that credit is also blocked. So if you have taken that credit, you need to reverse the same. Sorry. How to avail ITC for invoices issued to the erstwhile registered person, that already I have explained that they have specifically given procedure that any credit in any purchases has been made by corporate debtors for which he has not claimed the credit. As a CIRP, as a RP, you can claim that credit, and there is no time limit applicable for the same. Next is how to avail ITC of invoices by person who are availing supplies from corporate debtors undergoing CIRP in cases where the RPA was appointed before the issuance of notification. This already I have covered, because this whatever I'm taking, that circular they have issued, and that they have made the clarification, and that circular says that whatever supplies has been made, you can claim the credit. One question has been raised. I think Paliwalji have raised that some RP has made deposit in cash ledger of erstwhile registration of the corporate debtors. How to claim refund? So it says that if any cash balance is there in the corporate debtors cash register, then RP can claim the refund of the same. So same way, if any credit is also there, that credit also you can claim against your liability, because credit can be claimed, that already I have given in the previous slide. So you can take that credit in your ledger account, and accordingly you can use that credit. I think I am clear, Paliwalji.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, sir. Clear.
However, so this all the clarification circular has been issued by the department, so there is no ambiguity in that.
सर एक मतलब रिलेवेंट क्वेश्चन ही है, जीएसटी का ही क्वेश्चन है। सब बड़ा चैलेंज क्या आता है कि वी नीड टू पास लॉट ऑफ क्लेम्स फॉर द within 30 days, and in lot corporate data says or has not paid the GST liability. The challenge we face, whether we should go in deep dive and see whether the GST liability has been paid by this vendor before allowing the any claim of the operational creditor, or we should not go deep dive and see whether the GST liability has been, whether he declared, not declared, paid, not paid.
See, as I said, section 16(2), which says that it is your responsibility, the person who is taking credit, it is your responsibility to ensure that the supplier has made the payment of the GST to the government. But as I said, that once you are appointed IRP, so within 30 days, you have to take the registration, and within 30 days, you have to file the first return also. So first return, I don't think practically possible to do the deep dive in all the cases to whether the vendor has made the payment or not. So better first you take the credit, and maybe deep dive can be done later on, maybe next month or maybe within 60 days. And then if you find out, then you can reverse the credit also. That is the practical approach you can take.
But if somebody is not declared my invoice for the GST purpose, I can deny the GST credit to him. Claim.
No, matlab some supplier must have given some services or goods to you, and but he has not uploaded that invoice in his GSTR1, so it is not appearing in GSTR2B. That what you are saying?
Sir, मतलब lot of parties do that. They file a claim with the invoices which they have raised, but they have not declared with GST authority.
So then you should not give the GST claim, at least, because GST law is very clear that it says that it has to be in your GSTR 2B. So if yeah.
Understood, sir.
So this condition, you can see this condition, second one, which is given in section 16(2), unless it will be appearing in your GSTR 2B, you will not get the credit. So you should deny the GST amount to that supplier.
Or we can insist the party to share the copy of 2B where they declared these invoices.
Yeah. Definitely. So otherwise तो आपको वैसे भी credit नहीं मिलेगा, तो आपको insist करना ही है.
Understood.
Okay. How are dues under GST for pre-CIRP period be dealt with? In accordance with the provision of IBC and various legal pronouncement on the issue, no corrective action can be taken against the corporate debtor with respect to dues for the period prior to the insolvency commencement date. The dues of the period prior to the commencement of CIRP will be treated as operational debt, and the claim may be filed by the proper officer before the NCLT in accordance with the provision of the IBC. That what we discussed also, na?
Yes, sir.
So it will be treated and directly they will file before the IBC authority. So they can't insist the RP कि आप ये मेरा पैसा clear करके दो. So that clear provision they have given. Then treatment of statutory dues under GST law in respect of the taxpayer for whom the proceedings have been finalized under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So this dues can be recovered. And there may be a possibility that later on उन्होंने समझो कोई dues निकाला होगा 1 करोड़ का और later on they have come down and they said no, it is 80 lakhs only. There may be a possibility. So in that case, it is the duty of the commissioner to give the revised information to the NCLT and accordingly बाकी 20 लाख का वो डिमांड नहीं कर सकते हैं. So these are from my side as far as the presentation of CIRP is concerned, and whatever I've discussed was my opinions or views, and opinions or views are like wristwatches. Every watch shows different time from others, but everyone believes that their time is right. I will be great to take any question answer from your side.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है मेरा.
हाँ बोलिए ना सर.
सर जैसे डिस्काउंट रहता है, अपन जैसे किसी पार्टी को डिस्काउंट भी देते हैं कि भाई यदि डिस्काउंट में परफॉर्मेंस डिस्काउंट रहता है तो उस पर भी जीएसटी का इम्पैक्ट अपने को लेना पड़ेगा.
सो अभिषेक जी, दो चीजें हैं. डिस्काउंट, एक तो आपने जो इनवॉइस पे डिस्काउंट दे दिया,
वो तो चलिए उस पे तो जीएसटी का
आपने
इम्पैक्ट ऑटोमेटिक
जीएसटी
आ
आपने
जाएगा.
कम का ही इशू किया है तो कोई
हाँ
इशू नहीं है.
बराबर है.
समटाइम आप बोलते हो कि भाई आपने कस्टमर के साथ आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करते हो कि आप मेरे से 1 लाख रुपए का माल, आप मेरे से 2 करोड़ का माल साल का लोगे या 2 लाख रुपए का 2 लाख टन माल लोगे, जो भी वॉट एवर क्वांटिटी वैल्यू कोई भी टर्म्स में, देन आई विल गिव यू 5% डिस्काउंट आफ्टर द
बराबर.
ईयर. तो परफॉर्मेंस डिस्काउंट और वॉट एवर यू कॉल इट, करेक्ट.
करेक्ट.
So if it is decided pre-supply
हम्म.
and then it is given post-supply, so in that case you can issue a credit note to the customer and reduce the liability against your next bill, next month.
बट सर यदि पार्टी जिससे अपन परचेज कर रहे हैं
नहीं,
दे आर
परचेज नहीं, सेल की बात कर रहे हैं ना आप तो.
नहीं मैं परचेज की बात कर रहा हूँ. यदि मैं किसी से
ओके, तो आपने किसी से माल परचेज किया और उसने कहा कि अगर आप मेरे से 1 करोड़ रुपए का माल ले लेते हो तो मैं आपको 5% डिस्काउंट दूंगा ईयर एंड में, करेक्ट.
ईयर एंड पे मैं आपको डिस्काउंट देता
तो आपने सबसे पहले तो 1 करोड़ पे 18 लाख रुपए का जीएसटी का क्रेडिट ले लिया.
हूँ. बिल्कुल ले लिया सर.
बिल्कुल ले लिया. फिर उसने आपको 1 करोड़ पे 5 लाख रुपए का क्रेडिट नोट इशू किया और 90,000 रुपए का जीएसटी का, तो 5,90,000 का क्रेडिट नोट इशू किया.
नहीं, उसने मुझे सिर्फ डायरेक्टली 5 लाख रुपए का क्रेडिट नोट इशू कर दिया विदाउट गिविंग एनी इफेक्ट ऑफ द जीएसटी.
ओके 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 ओके.
टीओडी डिस्काउंट
I may be wrong, but Manish ji भी है सामने, तो I just want to put my perspective on this. Manish ji, excuse me, because मेरे को ये कुछ केसेस काम में आते हैं. जहाँ पे कैश डिस्काउंट आता है वहां पे विदाउट जीएसटी आप सीधा क्रेडिट नोट कर सकते हो, बट ट्रेड डिस्काउंट है तो जीएसटी लगेगा.
नहीं
तो
नहीं, वैसा नहीं है
बहुत-
सर. तो आपका कैश डिस्काउंट हो, ट्रेड डिस्काउंट हो, परफॉर्मेंस डिस्काउंट हो, अगर आपने दो ही पॉसिबिलिटी है कि आपने अगर प्री सप्लाई उसको डिसाइड किया है तो आप जीएसटी जो क्रेडिट नोट इशू करोगे उसमें जीएसटी का भी इफेक्ट लोगे. अगर आपने प्री सप्लाई डिसाइड नहीं किया है, so in that scenario you can't reduce the GST liability, whether it is cash discount or whether it is trade
बट अभी
discount or
सर
performance discount.
पार्टी ने मेरे को जीएसटी का डेबिट नोट नहीं दिया है सामने, तो या फिर क्रेडिट नोट नहीं दिया है, देन हाउ आई विल
हाँ,
इनकॉर्पोरेट
तो
इन माय
आपको नहीं नहीं, अगर सामने वाली पार्टी ने आपको क्रेडिट नोट नहीं दिया है जीएसटी का, तो आपको कुछ भी नहीं करना है. सामने वाली पार्टी ने आपको क्रेडिट नोट देना चाहिए जीएसटी का.
यस. यदि उसने नहीं
और
दिया
अगर
है
उसने दिया है तो आपको जो जीएसटी की आपने क्रेडिट लिया है वो आपको रिवर्स करना है.
यदि नहीं दिया है तो डू वी आर एज एनीवेयर liable for reversing the GST or
So two views are possible in this case. One school of thought says that you should not reverse the credit in that scenario. One school of thought says that you have to reverse credit in both the in that scenario also. The reason जो मैंने आपको कहा कि if you are not making payment within 180 days, then you need to reverse the credit. Correct?
करेक्ट.
ये 5 लाख रुपए का आपने पेमेंट नहीं किया,
वो तो डिस्काउंट दिया है ना सर
हाँ
उन्होंने.
डिस्काउंट दिया. करेक्ट. सो अब ये डिस्काउंट जो है वो आपका पेमेंट का मतलब क्या है उसको कहीं पे भी डिफाइन नहीं किया है जीएसटी लॉ में.
ओके.
मेरा ये मानना है कि अगर आपने बुक्स में एंट्री पास कर दी है 5 लाख रुपए की, तो ये भी एक तरीके का पेमेंट ही है ना. व्हाट इज पेमेंट अल्टीमेटली?
पर वो ईयर एंड पे आके हो रहा है सर. ईयर एंड पे आके हो रहा है ना, वो तो ईयर एंड
कहीं
पे
पे
आके
भी कहीं पे भी हो सर, ईयर एंड में भी हो रहा है. तो मेरा ये पेमेंट एक तरीके से मैं ये मानता हूँ कि ये पेमेंट हो गया, so that 180 days will not apply.
नहीं 180 डेज की बात नहीं, मैं तो खाली डिस्काउंट के बारे में पूछ रहा हूँ कि परफॉर्मेंस डिस्काउंट यदि 2 करोड़ का सेल आया, उन्होंने बोला 10 लाख रुपए का आपको मैं क्रेडिट नोट पास कर दिया सिंस यू बॉट 2 करोड़ वर्थ ऑफ गुड्स फ्रॉम मी, तो वो 10 लाख रुपए सीधी सीधी मेरी परचेज में क्रेडिटर में से कम हो जाएगा. बट एट द सेम टाइम डू आई नीड टू रिवर्स द 10 बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे नेट परचेज वुड बी 1.9 लाख 1.9 लाख 1.9 करोड़ ओनली.
करेक्ट. आपका जो है सर परचेज 2 करोड़ होगा और डिस्काउंट अमाउंट जो होगा वो 10 लाख रुपया होगा. करेक्ट. तो मैं आपको यही कह रहा हूँ कि ये अल्टीमेटली आपने पेमेंट तक कर दिया है, तो मेरे हिसाब से इसमें जीएसटी रिवर्सल नहीं आएगा, प्रोवाइडेड आपको जीएसटी क्रेडिट नोट नहीं दिया है आपके सप्लायर ने.
ओके, तो अब वी आर कंप्लाइंट है, अपने एंड पे इशू नहीं है.
हाँ, तो अगर आपको जीएसटी क्रेडिट नोट नहीं दिया है तो यू शुड नॉट रिवर्स द क्रेडिट.
वन मोर क्वेश्चन कैन आई आस्क?
यस सर.
जो 180 डेज का क्राइटेरिया आपने अभी सीआरपी में बताया सर, जैसे हमारे आउटस्टैंडिंग तो बहुत पेंडिंग है, सपोज जो 2-2 3-3 साल से पेंडिंग खड़े हैं उनके पेमेंट नहीं हो रहे, तो आज की डेट में उसको रिवर्स करने में कैसे जाऊंगा? बिकॉज क्रेडिट नोट तो इश्यू कर नहीं सकता मैं उसके अगेंस्ट में आईटीसी रिवर्सल के लिए.
नहीं, आपको जीएसटी रिटर्न में अलग से वो बोलता है कि क्रेडिट रिवर्सल के लिए बारे में, इस तरीके का क्रेडिट नोट के बिना भी आप ये क्रेडिट रिवर्स कर सकते हो. और जब भी आप उसको पेमेंट करोगे आपको रिक्रेडिट मिल जाएगा. लेकिन जब भी आप ये क्रेडिट रिवर्स करने जाओगे, आपका समझो 2 साल का आउटस्टैंडिंग है और क्रेडिट आप आज रिवर्स कर रहे हो, तो 2 साल का आपको इंटरेस्ट देना पड़ेगा 18% से.
और जब मैं रिवर्स वापस लूंगा तो टू बी में तो दिखेगा नहीं सर, तो फिर वो मेरा मिसमैच नहीं आएगा.
नहीं, वो आपको है ना उसमें सेपरेट कॉलम दिया है रिक्रेडिट का, और उसमें
ओके.
कोई टाइम लिमिट नहीं है, आप कभी भी रिक्रेडिट कर सकते हो. जब भी आप पेमेंट करोगे तभी ये रिक्रेडिट कर लो, आपको मैनुअली करना है.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सो मच.
Manish bhai,
Yeah.
one question on value of supply. In RP cases, the fees are decided by COCs, say 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees per month. In this process, they are incurring some expenses for traveling. Some reimbursements are there. Say 10,000 is a reimbursement. Fee is rupees 2 lakhs. So that 10,000 is a part of value. 2 lakh plus 10 lakh 10,000. GST will be levied on 2 lakhs or 2 lakh 10,000.
2,10,000. Because GST provision says that only expenditure which is incurred as a pure agent will have to be excluded. Otherwise, everything will be the part of your value of supply. And once you go to the definition of pure agent, then it says that you should not use that service. So traveling service है, ये सब service आप खुद use कर रहे हो ना? Maybe you are using for the purpose of that your client, or maybe purpose of the corporate debtor. But then you are using that service, so it will not form part of pure agent, and you are liable to pay GST on that also. So 2,10,000 पे आ जाएगा.
Okay, thank you.
Manish ji, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
मैं म्यूट
हाँ बोलिए, आवाज आ रही है.
सीआरपी
मनीष
पहले
जी,
का कोई लाइबिलिटी है जहाँ पे कि कंपनी द अर्सवाइल मैनेजमेंट वाज इन अपील, whether such liabilities can be contested by earlier management, or whatever the claim which is being filed by department that an process or
नहीं, एक बार वापस से बोले ना पालीवाल जी, मिस्ड आउट.
पालीवाल जी, ये क्वेश्चन ये है कि अर्स्टवाइल एक अपनी अपील चल रही थी जीएसटी के. So the suppose appeal is going on pre-CIRP, and the
Okay.
department file a claim for the said debt after initiation of CIRP. Then either RP let the complete appeal processing and admit claim based on final order, or claim should be admitted on contingency and then finalized based on available final order.
As department has clarified that whatever issues prior to CIRP period is there, respect of GST, then the proper officer will go before the NCLT and he will file his claim. These are the claims which are before CIRP procedure proceeding has been initiated, and these are our claim. So that direct that officer will go to the NCLT and claim.
We
Technically,
need
it's not contingent claim. These are the crystallized claim for us.
कंटीजेंट भी है तो वो बताएगा ना कि मेरा ये मैटर पे या इधर ये चल रहा है, या फिर वो जाके कोर्ट में भी बोल सकता है या अपील मैटर पे भी बोल सकता है ऑफिसर की आप मेरे को पहले ये प्रायोरिटी पे करके दो बिकॉज मुझे एनसीएलटी में जाना है इसके लिए ना.
तो अपील पेंडिंग हो गई तो पूरा क्लेम एक्सेप्ट करना है कि वेट करना है कि आपका ऑर्डर आएगा फिर हम क्लेम करेंगे, क्योंकि हमने तो अपील किया है, डिस्प्यूट किया है.
नहीं तो वो आप उस बोल सकते हो कि भाई आप जो अथॉरिटी है उसको बोलो कि मेरा अपील प्रायोरिटी पे क्लियर करे ना पहले, तो दैट यू कैन आस्क टू द ऑफिसर. Because as
लेकिन
far as
लोग
GST
उसके
is
लिए
concerned, as far as GST is concerned, tribunal तो अभी सेटअप हुआ नहीं है. So either it may be before the officer himself for hearing, or maybe before the commissioner appeal.
Right.
अगर कमिश्नर उसके खुद के पास ही अगर वो है हियरिंग, तो इमीडिएटली उसको ही तो आंसर देना है ना. तो either he will reject your appeal.
तो वही तो हमने उसको लिखा है कि भाई आप यही अपील को डिस्पोज करो और फिर क्लेम करो.
करेक्ट. आपको वही करना है कि उसको बोलना है कि आप जो है आप डिसाइड करो और फिर आप क्लेम फाइल करो.
हाँ, ऐसे ही थोड़ी पूरा क्लेम ले ले, जब भी मैं ही खुद कॉन्टेस्ट कर रही हूँ विद प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंट.
करेक्ट.
लेकिन मैडम फिर अपने को जीएसटी कमिश्नर के साथ जीएसटी कंसल्टेंट को खड़ा करके उसको फाइट करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ, बट उसको लिखते हैं ना हम लोग, वो बुलाए तो जाए ना.
हाँ, मतलब इफ यू डोंट फाइट तो फाइनली व्हाटएवर द डिपार्टमेंट इज क्लेमिंग ही विल पास द ऑर्डर.
नहीं वही बोल रहा हूँ, तो आपको डिपार्टमेंट को वो लेटर लिख ही देना चाहिए और उसको ये बोल देना चाहिए कि भाई हमारा तो इसमें है, आपका अगर कोई क्लेम है तो आप बताओ और आप ये ऑर्डर फाइनली पास करो.
हाँ, और ऑर्डर जो भी दे भले वो अपना ना एक्सेप्ट करे, एटलीस्ट ऑर्डर आ गया
जो भी है दे तो अपना क्रिस्टलाइज हो गया ना.
हाँ, क्रिस्टलाइज हो गया ना. ये ऐसा कंटिंजेंसी में थोड़ी मैं करूँ जब भी मैंने खुद ने ही अपील फाइल की हुई है. या थैंक यू.
मनीष जी, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था. ये है कि आपने बताया कि फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ आईआरपी और आरपी 30 डेज का अंदर रजिस्ट्रेशन करना है.
करेक्ट.
तो 30 डेज का अंदर रजिस्ट्रेशन हुआ नहीं है, बाद में करेंगे तो इसको क्या कॉन्सिक्वेंस होगा? इट विल बी रिफ्यूज्ड और देयर विल बी सम कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस फॉर दैट.
सो देयर इज सम पेनल्टी फॉर डिले इन रजिस्ट्रेशन. सो तब का तब देखेंगे ना सर. अभी तक तो इन्होंने कोई भी रजिस्ट्रेशन डिले के लिए पेनल्टी इनिशिएट नहीं की है लास्ट 6 years में, इन नॉर्मल सर्कमस्टेंसेस आल्सो, बट लॉ इज देयर.
अच्छा, ओके. दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मान लीजिए कोई कंपनी इवेंचुअली हैज आईटीसी क्रेडिट एंड ये क्रेडिट अवेल नहीं कर पाया एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर कंपनी इज सोल्ड ऑफ एक्चुअली इन द रेजोल्यूशन प्रोसेस और इन द लिक्विडेशन. Now the new buyer who is coming actually and taking over the company, can he avail the ITC credit and this if he changes the name?
नहीं, नई कंपनी को नहीं मिलेगा सर वो क्रेडिट.
You'll be selling as a going concern, na sir?
If he is selling as a going concern, why the ITC credit will be denied?
सबसे पहले तो आपको ये देखना है सर कि 16(4) का एक लिमिटेशन है.
आपने 30th नवंबर का बात कर रहा है.
30th नवंबर का है, तो पहले तो आपको वो भी एक प्रॉब्लम है. और दूसरा जो है जीएसटी का जो क्रेडिट आया होगा वो पुरानी कंपनी के नाम पे आया हुआ है ना.
ठीक है, सपोज द पुराना कंपनी का नाम में
पुराना
क्रेडिट करे,
कंपनी जो है
कंटिन्यू
अपने रिटर्न में उसको क्लेम कर लेना.
अच्छा, ओके.
और क्लेम करके फिर इसको दे देवे.
ओके. अच्छा, पुराना कंपनी आप बोल रहा है उसको कंटिन्यू करके उसका नाम में क्लेम करके इसको दे दे.
खुद के नाम पे क्लेम करके फिर इसको ही दे देवे.
So in this case, there would be either merger or something, ना?
या वो मर्जर और उसके तरीके से जो प्रोसीजर
तो मिलेगा ही ना सर.
हाँ सर मिलेगा तो, लेकिन क्लेम तो करना पड़ेगा ना उसको।
वो क्लेम करके फिर उसको बेचने को बोल रहे हैं, जैसे मर्जर में भी जैसे इस
मतलब एक
तरह से।
रिटर्न फाइल करना है ना सर, रिटर्न में आप ये डिटेल दिखा दो, खत्म हो गया।
यानी कंफ्यूजन ना रहे सर, इट्स क्लियर। I
Good, good.
think all question, Mr. Syamal, your questions.
Yeah, Manish, no question. Manish ji, you actually handled very well, and I think काफी confidently और आपने काफी information दिया है, which will be very practical and useful. अच्छा
Yes.
लगा. We have noted your number actually for WhatsApp.
ओके सर, ओके।
Thank you.
थैंक्स
Thank
मनीष जी,
you.
आपने हमारे सब क्वेश्चंस पेशेंसली सुने और हर क्वेश्चन का एक एक आंसर दिया है एंड
Without fees.
हाँ
सिर्फ मनीष जी के लिए काफी क्वेश्चंस आएंगे अभी, दिस इज जस्ट द टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग।
यस
ठीक है, अच्छा लगा. You are based in Bombay.
यस सर, यस सर।
Thank you.
I think all questions are answered. Then can we close, please?
Manish ji, can we share your PPC with in the group if you permit?
Yeah. I already shared with you, Devang bhai. The same PDF file you can share, na?
I'll send the
Thanks
PPC.
a lot.
I
Thanks
need
a
your
lot.
permission because it was shared for me. So I'll share in the group also.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
a lot.
Thank you, sir, Manish ji.
Thank you, Manish bhai, for your time at the Saturday evening. Really appreciate, and the kind of knowledge, the way you are answering each question of IPC and all that. So thanks a lot for that. Thank you very much. If
Managed
required,
on
we'll
Google
invite
very
you again.
managed on Google very well.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
थैंक यू मनीष जी.
Thanks everyone for participating. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.